Happy Sunday morning. It's about 11 a.m., Sunday after Thanksgiving. So there is a guy named David Sachs. He is currently the AI crypto czar for Donald Trump's administration. He was an early chief operating officer and product leader at PayPal. He was CEO for a few other tech companies. He was an angel investor in Facebook, Uber, SpaceX, Palantir, and Airbnb. At the beginning of the year, Trump named David Sachs the White House AI and crypto czar. He also goes by David Balsack, a nickname of which I am very familiar that Tim Miller is quite fond of the Bulwark. He also is co-host with three other guys of a podcast called the AllIn podcast. It's him and three other guys. It's four Silicon Valley tech billionaires who have a podcast that they record. And because, gosh, who would we more want to hear from on a weekly basis, spouting off opinions about how the bottom 97% of us should be living our lives than for Silicon Valley tech billionaires. As an aside, so the point of this post is he is top of the fold, front page of the New York Times this morning, put out a very long article about him. And it is not what I would describe as a very flattering article about him, which I know, again, that will bring great pleasure to Tim Miller from the Bulwark this morning, the New York Times calling out David Balsack. And speaking of Tim Miller, one of the co-hosts of the AllIn podcast is a guy named Jason Calcanis, Calcanis. Jason Calcanis has appeared, I think, twice on Tim Miller's Daily Bulwark podcast. And boy, howdy, I have never listened to two better examples of a tech billionaire coming on with his full chest and thinking that everyone is going to agree with him that he is actually a victim. He spoke at great length about why he supported Trump and did not support Kamala Harris because he had personally been victimized by Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and was unable to get them on the phone when he wanted to, the president and vice president of the United States. And he was supporting Trump in part because he can get Trump on the phone when he wants to. I strongly encourage everyone to go listen to those two episodes at any point in time in your life when you ever need some eat the rich motivation. Those two podcast episodes will provide you with that focus and clarity and motivation. Anyway, New York Times, front page, above the fold. Silicon Valley's man in the White House is benefiting himself and his friends. David Sachs, David Balsack, the Trump administration's AI and crypto czar, has helped formulate policies that aid his Silicon Valley friends and many of his own tech investments. I'm just going to read from this article here. In July, David Balsack, one of the Trump administration's top technology officials, beamed as he strode on stage at a neoclassical auditorium just blocks from the White House. He had convened top government officials and Silicon Valley executives for a forum on the booming business of artificial intelligence. Why can't artificial intelligence put all of these fuckers out of work? The guest of honor was President Trump, who unveiled an AI action plan that was drafted in part by Mr. Balsack, a longtime venture capitalist. In a nearly hour-long speech, Mr. Trump declared that AI was one of the most important technological revolutions in the history of the world. Then he picked up a pen and signed a bunch of executive orders to fast-track the industry. Almost every single person in the high-powered audience, which included the chief executives of chip makers Nvidia and AMD, as well as Mr. Balsack's tech friends, colleagues, and business partners, were poised to profit from the executive orders that had just been signed by Fat Nixon, Pervert Hoover, Groper Cleveland, Tangerine Tits, McHankle's McTaco Tits. That was the one I couldn't remember. Among the winners was Mr. Balsack himself. Since January, Mr. Balsack has occupied one of the most advantageous moonlighting roles in the federal government, influencing policy for Silicon Valley and Washington, while simultaneously working in Silicon Valley as an investor who's benefiting from all of those policies that he's writing. Among his actions as the White House's AI and crypto czar, Mr. Balsack has offered astonishing White House access to his tech industry compatriots that set up giants like Nvidia to reap an estimated $200 billion in new sales. Mr. Balsack has recommended AI policies that have sometimes run counter to national security recommendations. Mr. Balsack has positioned himself to personally benefit. He has 708 tech investments, including at least 449 stakes in companies with ties to artificial intelligence that could be aided directly or indirectly by his policies. His public filings designate 438 of his tech investments as software or hardware companies, even though the firms promote themselves as AI enterprises, yada, yada, yada. Mr. Balsack has raised the profile of his weekly podcast, AllIn, through his government role and expanded its business. Da 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 da. So, and then about this event that they had, no event better illustrates Mr. Balsack's ethical complexities and how his intertwined interests have come together than the July AI Summit. Mr. Balsack initially planned for the forum to be hosted by his AllIn podcast, which he leads with those three other tech investors, including Jason Calcanis. AllIn asked potential sponsors to pay $1 million each for access to private receptions and other events at the summit, bringing together President Trump and leading AI innovators. No wonder they wanted to sponsor it. The plan so worried some officials that Susie Wiles, the White House chief of staff, intervened and put a stop to that. Steve Bannon fucking hates these guys. Hates these guys and Elon Musk. He hates these guys. Steve Bannon, a former advisor to Mr. Trump and critic of Silicon Valley billionaires, said Mr. Balsack was a quintessential example of ethical conflicts in an administration where the tech bros are out of control. They are leading the White House down the road to perdition with this ascendant technocratic oligarchy. Mr. Balsack has been allowed to serve in government while working in private industry because he is a special government employee, a title the White House typically confers on experts who temporarily advise the government. He is not paid for his work for the administration. He gets to write policies that personally financially benefit him and his buddies. He may not be getting a salary, but that fucker's getting paid. Oligarchy. The oligarchy is here.